You're listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, featuring Larry Carroll, and sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm Mel Tellar, your host. I'm thrilled to be with you today. Today's guest is a candidate for Assembly District 6. His name is Derek Rimson. Derek, welcome to the show.
Thank you so very much, Mel. This is an exciting time, and I definitely appreciate the opportunity to come on and to be a part of the show.
Well, we're pleased to have you. We're talking about District 6. Tell us exactly where that's located.
It's located actually hubbed in the heart of the historical West Side. If you're geographically savvy, it would be as far north as Cheyenne, as far south as Bonanza, going west to Rancho and a little ways over to Decatur, and then of course going east as far as Lamb. So that is the historical or the district that I'm running for is District 6.
Why do you want this job?
I think I'm the most qualified for the experience that I've had. I've actually been able to do several things, education being one that has owned and operated and been a part of a system of childhood development centers, one in particular, a charter school within North Philadelphia. So that's the education piece. I actually did a daycare in South Central Los Angeles, again in North Philadelphia. These are all at the churches that I pastored. When it comes to affordable housing or economic development, I've been a part of that. In the western end of Michigan, I'm originally from Detroit, Michigan, but also I ended up pastoring in the city of Kalamazoo, and also connected to Benton Harbor and Muskegon. And under the late Nathaniel Wells Jr., we were able to advance some urban areas and urban communities by establishing affordable houses in these areas, in these cities, actually, Muskegon, Benton Harbor, Kalamazoo, Michigan. And of course, the small business piece is something else that I think District 6 is desperately in need of, the support of finances and economical strength to the small business. And of course, I was also a retail business owner because in the city of Kalamazoo, we owned, and actually Grand Rapids, Michigan, we owned several shoe stores. And so the business, the education, and of course, the economic development, have those experiences. And so I think I would be definitely the best candidate for District 6 to help set some policies and get some laws in place that would help to definitely support those three areas.
Okay, wonderful. You said that you have previously pastored. Are you presently pastoring a church?
No, I'm actually serving under Bishop Bill McDonald Jr., who is the founder and senior pastor of the Wealthy Place, and located in the heart of the historical West Side. And of course, everybody who knows about the Shepherd's Breakfast has been there at some point or another within one of the 30 days within the month or the year. Yeah. Every Wednesday about 9 o'clock. So that's where I'm located.
All right, let's talk a little bit about expectations. What can the residents of District 6 expect from you? What kind of change do you anticipate bringing to District 6?
Well, we're presently, as we speak, we're working on economic development for the historical West Side, which I think is in desperate need, is so in desperate need of affordable housing. From my understanding, historically, back in the 60s and the 50s, due to segregation and that side of town was really concentrated by our people with thriving communities, neighborhoods, and businesses, historic casino, hotels. And then as the 70s rolled in with all of the drug infestation, the 80s rolled in with the gang infestation, the community has deteriorated over the last 45 plus years. And so one of the things that's necessary, that I know is necessary from my experience, is beginning to do economic development, starting with affordable housing, getting back to building neighborhoods and communities. And we're presently right now for the Nehemiah project is working and collaborating with realtors and collaborating with pastors in District 6 to advance this project and to build affordable and marginalized housing. A lot of time I don't like to say affordable housing, because whenever we say affordable housing in the African-American community, people then generate it as low-income housing. But we're talking about affordable and manageable housing, where it is affordable for people to purchase actually single family housing and have equity and in economic empowerment. And so we're presently working on that now. We're picking out land and parcels of land that are still available in the historical West Side. And we're working with builders and architects. Man, we're trying to get this thing done so that we can just begin to start with the economic development with the housing.
How many housing units are you looking to build?
Well, from the first project, now we're kind of tossing, because we're trying to figure out what is the most feasible, but yet the quickest development that we can get up. But you also have to realize too that in this process, there are developers, and in the financing from the government demand certain types of housing, and they expect certain number of units. Yes. And so right now we're looking at about, for maybe the first project, possibly looking at 140 units would be somewhere in the vicinity. If that takes longer than expected, through going through the city planning commission codes and all of that, then of course we're looking at starting with some single family housing in the area and moving in that direction, which will be a little quicker, but it'll at least get us rolling and get us started.
Okay, so it sounds like you are looking long term and planning long term. And it sounds also like you are planning several projects. Am I correct?
Yes, correct. Actually, we're partnering. I forgot to tell you this part. We're partnering with Nevada Partners. We're partnering with UNLV. And as I forestated, we're partnering with some of the pastors that are in the historical West Side that, pastor some of these historical churches. And we're just trying to do something from a collaborative perspective, a unified perspective. And so that, we can begin to rebuild, rejuvenate this community. It's been sitting a long time, which in my opinion, this neighborhood, this community should not be sitting dormant and desolate and decayed as it is. And so I'm bringing my experience to the table. Bishop McDonald, who is a contractor, I don't know how, for the last 40 something years, who has built houses. He is a builder and architect of a $3.2 million church facility that sits in the heart of the historical West Side. So you have some very capable, very experienced men and that are coming to the table that know how to get this done. And so we're now collaborating with sources and resources to make this happen.
Talk to me about the banking aspect. Many times it's a tad bit difficult for African Americans to do business with banks. Many times banks don't necessarily want to do business with people who look like us. How are you all working that angle?
Well, we're more or less going through the angle of government government funding, state funding, possibly HUD. I'm not a real fan of HUD, but possibly, HUD. So these government and local state government funding is basically the route that we're looking at taking. The banks in this day and time is very, very difficult.
Yes.
At one time it was very easy because before the crash of the market in 2008, between I think 2004 to 2008, man, they were literally giving money away. And then, of course, naturally, the market crashed. And so it has made it hard for churches in particular, African-American businessmen in particular, even with the SBA loan, it's African-Americans and small businesses cannot seem to even get $10,000. And so it's very difficult. So we're going a different route. Hopefully within there, we can generate some sponsors and some investors that will happily invest after seeing the first project erected. Then it will hopefully motivate some of these millionaires and maybe billionaires to invest into the project as we continue to go forward.
All right, so we're talking about economic development. When I think of economic development, I think of jobs, jobs, jobs. What are you all doing in this area?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the purpose for the economic development, is to provide jobs, and as many jobs as we possibly can. Because where there's no commerce, there's no thriving community, period. End of story. If people are not working, people don't have a source of finances and income, then there's no economic empowerment and no base. So we definitely are doing this to also help to generate and create more jobs so that there's job opportunity in our community.
When I was growing up, we used to say, or I used to hear a lot, education is the key, young man. Education is the key. And I believe that to be the case today, that education is the key. Unfortunately, we live in Clark County. CCSD is rated as one of the worst school districts in the country. And I am being nice, and I am going to try and be politically correct here. So how can you, or have you thought about how you can impact the education of our children? Because our children are not being educated, and even those who graduated are not prepared and ready for the next step. Are you going to be impacting that situation?
Yeah, I plan to. Matter of fact, I've been working with several groups of educators, LABAPSI being one. There are several tremendous and very prepared, educated candidates that are running for the school board. One in particular in District C, which is Historical West Side. That's Tamika Henry. We have another one, I believe, in District E. Might be E or F, but another one that I think is one of the most brilliant, one of the most smartest and prepared young ladies, and of course that's Dr. Camellia Bywater. And these have been rallying and have been supporting and pushing.
Let me say, I'm going to interrupt you here and be rude.
Yes.
We talk about Dr. Camellia Bywater. We are talking about an individual who is brilliant. She has passion. She has love for these children, a love for the community, and she is worthy of your consideration. Let me tell you something.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
she becomes a member of the school board will be better.
Yes, it will. Man, listen.
The school board will be better if she becomes a member.
Absolutely. And we're pushing for both of them. They both have passion. They both have experience. They love the children. They love the students. They love our students because they look like us. And then there's a few others that are out there that are running. for those positions. And it's my endeavor to collaborate, to continue to collaborate and continue to support. Because again, I think that a lot of things start with policy. It starts with laws. Some things would not happen in Clark County School District if certain policies and laws were implemented, and it would help to promote and to advocate for change. My mother actually for 38 years was an educator and a guidance counselor for the Detroit Board of Education in Detroit, Michigan. And I'm connected to a lot of educators. They have the passion and the drive. So I think that the key is collaboration. And I say this adamantly, probably from every subject that we will discuss. It starts with collaboration and unity. It's coming together, it's collaborating, bringing like minds together. And in some cases, not always like minds, because sometimes having different opinions can be good friction. It can open up doors and windows of revelation and understanding that I can see it from now a different perspective when it's presented from another individual. But I think for us as African American people, we are missing out because we will not unify. We will not come together. However, I will say this also, that this new generation of leaders and advocates are really starting to come together and be supportive of one another. And so we're breaking down that old tradition, that old way of doing things, as some did back in the day, where they were just silos and everybody doing their own thing. But yeah, I'm collaborating with them. I'm listening to their voice. I'm listening to what they need. And then, of course, get to legislation, because I'm going to be the next assembly man for District 6. And so listening to them, I kind of know how to go into legislation and how to fight for them and start putting some things in order so we can get out of the basement, because 47 is not good at all. You're the 5th largest district in the country, but you're 47th in education, and that makes no sense. And from my understanding, historically, it's been like that for a very, very, very long time.
It has been like that for a very, very long time. And let me say this, we can understand Mississippi, we can understand Alabama, we can understand regions of the country that do not have money, that do not have resources. Ladies and gentlemen, every single individual that lives in Clark County, that lives in Las Vegas, should be embarrassed that this school district is rents as low as it rents.
Yes, sir.
Actually prints money. Resources are not an issue here as far as the resources in the community are concerned. And we are allowing our children, listen to this carefully, we are allowing our children to not be educated. We are allowing them to not get the education they need and the preparation they need for a thriving future. And that falls on us. That falls on us. We have to figure out a way to make this better, because our children deserve better. And the only people who are going to make that better is us. So we all have to get into this. We all have to get into this fight. And that's everybody who can hear me. That's me. That's Derek. That's everybody who lives in this community. We cannot accept.
Yeah, absolutely. Correct. And it's gone on long enough. And so, like I said, now I believe if we can get the voters to get out and vote for these candidates and put these candidates in place, man, I think there will be a radical transition on the board, because that board definitely needs to go. It's got
it's dysfunctional.
Go. Yeah, it's totally.
It's dysfunctional, and there's no other way. There's no other way to put that. I am not trying to be harsh. It is simply the fact the board is dysfunctional.
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct. So if we get these on, and I'm helping to fight for them as well, and if we can get them on, man, I think we can start seeing some very desperate, needed, and radical changes that will help to start pushing the school district to a better place and to a better level. Because matter of fact, I was just with the 100 women, Black women yesterday. They had an event for the candidates, but they had a little round table prior to, right, a preamble. And I was sitting at the table. We had to move around as candidates to each different table, right? So we got to this one table, there was a school teacher, couple school teachers. And she was saying the problem, one of the major problems is that the curriculum of CCSD is just totally not relevant. It's outdated. Well, man, if you're doing with outdated curriculums, that means you got outdated school books, you got outdated material, you've got outdated technology. Technology is not relevant, and the books are not relevant, which then causes the teachers to not be relevant. And so without the relevancy, then that's probably and likely is why it's 47th on the list. So, just going in and having to change the curriculum, the trustees should demand that the curriculum be relevant for all students, not just Centennial Hills, not just Summerlin, but it should be for all students across the board, across the district. So, I'm pushing for it, and I'm going to do my part to help.
Okay, love that. Derek, share your contact information with us, please.
Yes, you can reach me at 609-756-9038. Of course, that's my cell. You can talk to me directly, or you can go to Rimson for Community. That's Rimson, RIMSON for community.com. And there you can go to our website. If you want to reach out to us by our email, it's rimsonforcommunity@gmail.com.
Derek, you've been very gracious with your time. What would you like to leave our listening audience with?
Thank you again for having me, man. This is an honor and a privilege. All I would like to say is we're having people constantly saying that they are from the city of Las Vegas. I've got a couple that have said, I've been here 60 years. But for 45 years, this area has sat like this. And so sometimes it's to your advantage. It's to the advantage of advancement, sometimes to bring in new voices, new people with fresh ideas. I'm not a native of Las Vegas, but I am a resident of Las Vegas, and I'm a part of my district number 6. I serve in it, I work in it every single day. And we're doing something every single day, basically, trying to figure out ways and come up with strategies and stratagems to help to advance and to revitalize this historic community. And I'm desperately going to do all that I can with all of my experiences. I'm going to bring connections and relationships and information and whatever resources, whatever is needed to help us to bring this community back to life, to be supportive to the business owners and those entrepreneurs and small businesses. We're going to continue to work until we can get it done and it's efficient with affordable housing. And then, of course, education in our district is needed, and we're going to push for education. There's a plethora of other issues that we are also going to continue to look into and see how we can help and to advance. Of course, homelessness is very prevalent in District 6, and there is an answer. There is a solution. We just have to be willing to put our heads together and collaborate. Then, of course, housing is an issue from the standpoint of the rising cost of housing and rental, needing to put caps on rental. It's just getting out of hand. We've got developers and investors that are coming into the Las Vegas area. and now are just coming in and they're scooping up all of the developments and housing, and then of course turn around and they rent it out for double the market value of even the property and even certain housing. And so we've got to somehow put a cap and a limit on that. The infrastructure, Nevada, or actually Las Vegas, is really not the same city that it was 10 years ago. It has grown extensively.
Yes.
We are now at an additional 1 million population. The city prior to the pandemic, I think, was running around 2 million people, and now we're up to 3 million. And the scary thing about it is that if we don't come together and get strategies and plans in place for the residents of Las Vegas and Nevada, we're going to be pushed out by Californians because they are just fastly coming in and they're taking over. And one thing that Nevada does not need, it does not need an extension of California. California is a very legalistic state. It has a lot of perils, it has a lot of dangers and vices and devices, and we do not want Nevada or even Las Vegas to become like that. We know that it's growing, it's going to continue to grow, but we want to have things in place, especially in the marginalized community, the historical West Side, and I'm going to do my part to make sure that this part of the city does not sit like this for another 45 years. So thank you so very much for your time and having us come on. It is our honor and our privilege to be a part.
Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Derek Rimson, and he wants to be the next assemblyman representing District 6. You've been listening to Keeping It 100 with Mel and Bruce, featuring Larry Carroll, sponsored by the 100 Black Men of Las Vegas. What they see is what they'll be. I'm Mel Tellar, your host, and until next time, keep it 100.